Really, Glass Half Dead here, and today I want to talk about Warhammer Underworlds, specifically the Gnarlwood. What a lovely syllable they've decided to use with that RL there. Truly useful for all people that want to review this, because that's what this video is. It is a review of Warhammer Underworlds Gnarlwood. Let's get straight into it. Let's not dilly-dally. I want to talk about what exactly the Gnarlwood season is, what the 3 ways to play are, as that is a pretty big, because even though we're talking about this box, and this is primarily what we're talking about, something that this box gives us is kind of a redefinition of the formats of the game, and that's quite important to understand. I also personally want to say that I prefer Nemesis, and we're going to talk about how that fits into the rest of the game. And then we'll have a little look at upcoming warbands. And we're going to get all of that done as quickly as possible. And with that said, I would like to say, you know, this is obviously a slideshow-based format that I seem to be doing here. Somewhat the Nemesis, or, you know, the Nemesis format of slideshows, if you will. So I would just like to say quickly that if you are a subscriber to my channel, I'd like to give you a big double hello. Wow, wasn't that incredibly wholesome? Guys, if you like what I'm doing here, I have other things. I've got a Patreon, I've got a Discord, I've got all this other stuff. Go check it out. I also have merch. I drink from it, I wear it, I'm livid with it, rife with it. There is not a dearth of merch within my sphere. Let's get into it. Okay, this is the Gnarlwood review. Hold on. I have to hold up the box when I say this. Not for any reason. Oh, by the way, this was given me to go by Games Workshop, so thank you to them. But they obviously have not seen this review before I say it or anything like that, and they don't govern what I say at all, as proven by the complete amateur rank standards that I am producing this video with. So, yeah, I just want to be super clear that I am a beginner. I'm a Kill Team player, played a bit of 40k. I have played Underworlds in the first season of Underworlds, and I have not ever played it since. Didn't even play it in what, I can't even remember what the second one was called. Mage Spire? I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I essentially haven't played Underworlds. I completely dropped out of the scene. Yeah, there you go. And I am looking at this as someone that might want to get back into it. Although my reasons to want to get back into it is obviously going to taint my view, and we all love a nice bit of taint in our lives. So with that in mind, understand that if you're viewing this with a different lens than I am viewing it with, we may come to different, you know, different reasons for liking or disliking it. My personal lens is that I quite want a game that is easy to play, clear, concise, doesn't require as much as the rest of the GW stable of games to play, and is quick, fun, fast. Okay, with that said, let's review Gnarlwood. First up, these bad boys right here. These were super fiddly to build. You know what? You can't see these. I'm going to put something on screen somewhere so you can see them. Yeah. These were... So, the concept of Underworlds, right, in my mind, or I know that the tagline is that it's the hyper-competitive miniatures game, or like deck-building competitive game from GW, and I think that's great. But the problem is what they're trying to do, or sorry, what I want them to do. So I don't care what they're doing. What I want them to do, and where this is supposed to be targeted at, are players that you can kind of bring over from board games, from card games, and smash them together, because of course those are two massive communities, and bring them together in this particular game, which happens to be a GW game. But these miniatures were super fiddly. If you think back to the original Shadespire, you know, your first warbands were a Stormcast and the Bloodreaver dudes, the Marauders, and they were big chunky models, 2, maybe 3 pieces tops to put together, and like you couldn't really go wrong. These, I put together a lot of models, and I snapped one of the legs of these guys. I had to be really careful, and that's with the Velemorn crew, who are infinitely better looking, but they're also super fiddly. These guys, the Spirit Pack, whatever they are, they went together a little bit less fragilely, but they still weren't. I don't know. I don't like them. I think they suck. So I don't know. I think they probably need to consider what they're doing with their models. You know, I think they look great. Obviously, that's not the query here. I just think, I think the Velemorn look awesome. Oh, sorry, the Velmorn. Sorry, look really cool, really good Graveguard style models. I think all of the Age of Sigmar people that want Graveguard are going to be buying these. I think, yeah, brilliant models, brilliant skeleton models. I know that they did a skeleton pack back in the first edition in Shadespire, and lots of people loved those. These are just so much better in every possible way. These are great skeleton models. Spirit Pack, don't care. I literally don't care. I'm not even going to look at them. Never going to play them. Doesn't matter how good they are, how bad they are, how interesting their mechanics are. I think their aesthetic sucks. That's for me personally. Cool. The materials in the box, like these are, I think, you know, I'm not some big, I go out and I play every Magic game out there, and you know, whatever, I have lots and lots of experience with lots of different card games, and lots of different board games. Nope. But everything here, from my limited experience, really good, nice quality, nothing I would have to complain about. So there you go. Worth the money for what you get. Yeah, let's go with that. And then cards. Just, this is a general kind of aesthetic on like discussion as opposed to the quality of the cards. I quite like the cards. Like, I think they're decent. I think they're very clear in what they do. I think they're nice and consistent. They've got good artwork. They've got good graphical design. Cool. There you go. That is an important thing in a card game. And then for Gnarlwood itself, the box, I actually quite like what you get in it. So this is, in a sense, the biggest Underworlds core box, if you will, that they've done so far for a multitude of different formats. So in all of the Underworlds boxes, you always get 2 warbands, right? And that's great. Now you get 2 warbands along with their deck of cards. Great. That allows you to play them in one way. And in the past, that kind of, in a sense, used to be all you got. But now, because they have introduced different formats, which we'll talk about soon, you're also getting additional cards. These additional cards allow you to play all of the teams that you get in the box in a multitude of different ways. So you get the Velmorn guys, because I'm literally never going to talk about the Spirit series again. So you get the Velmorn warband, and you get their deck and their faction deck, and that's it. And then you also have some additional cards that, if you want to play more than just the basic deck, you can play with, and you get 2 more decks. So you can, so not only does the Velmorn deck have cards that you can swap in and out within itself, if you want, but you also get 2 additional decks beyond that you can swap to, and then if you decide to go to this deck over here, you can swap different cards within that with the Velmorn deck. So you can have a multitude of different deck builds with just 1 other deck, but there are 3 other decks within the... and the way I'm saying the word deck is going to come up on my slides soon, so don't worry, I'm aware of how close to other words that sounds. But I'm just saying that I think that Gnarlwood has done a pretty good job of giving you a good selection of cards that are broken down in such a way that you are able to play many different variations of the same game. Okay, cool. We then go to Rivals of Nethermaze, which is actually this deck that I'm holding here. This is just so this is the Rivals deck that you get this season, released alongside. It's not called the Rivals of Nethermaze, is it? Except it is. Hold on. This is the wrong one. Screw it. Okay, so basically, alongside the Gnarlwood pack, they also released a Rivals deck. This is a Rivals deck. Okay, that's how many cards you get. I think it's 32 because it's... I could be wrong. It might be 30. So you get 12 objective cards and then 20 power cards, basically. This is a Rivals deck. There you go. This is my review of it. It has cards. This will be relevant. Don't worry. The reason you need to know this because we're about to start talking about Rivals decks a lot. And so just so you know, this is what it is. Okay? So let's talk about the Gnarlwood season. Right. So we're kind of moving on from the Gnarlwood box there now. And we're going to talk about what exactly you can expect if you decide, hey, I like Gnarlwood. Which again, I think Gnarlwood is solid, to be clear. But I want you to understand, I think that Gnarlwood is a really good showing if you just want to get one box and call it a day. And there's lots within there that you kind of never have to go outside of if you don't ever want to. You can choose for this game to be a one and done purchase, you know, a single box game if you get Gnarlwood. Or you can choose for it to be a kind of, you know, a purchase every 6 months. Or even a purchase once a year. Buy Gnarlwood, skip the next big box and get the box after that. And you'll still actually be fully legal in any format you play in. Or, of course, you can buy Gnarlwood and then buy just an interesting warband, and you'll still have lots of ways to play in there. But let's say you decide to buy everything, you go all in, you decide you love the game. What is that game? What are you not committing to, but what are you potentially looking at purchasing? So, with the Gnarlwood season, in October, that's now, you will buy Gnarlwood, which gives you 2 warbands and 3 Rivals decks. Maybe even 4. I'm a little bit confused, but let's say 3. Because Rivals of Nethermaze, this thing here, is a Rivals deck, which releases, and it's a way of getting previous warbands. Then, 2 months later, you're going to get another warband. So that's your 3rd warband, and you're going to get another Rivals deck, which is this, okay? That's why I pointed out what a Rivals deck is. Then, 2 months after that, you're going to get another warband, and you're going to get another Rivals deck. And then, 2 months after that, so 6 months in total, you're going to get a new season. And as you can see here, this is what a season is. So presumably, every 6 months, we get 4 warbands, 3, 4, 5, something like that, Rivals decks. I've written it down here. So, this is what a season looks like. It kind of goes in 2 months chunks. Chunk 1, you get 2 warbands, 3 Rivals decks. Chunk 2, you get a warband and a Rivals deck. Chunk 3, you get a warband and a Rivals deck. Chunk 4, which is then when you're getting the beginning of the next season, if you've lost count there, you get 2 warbands, 3 Rivals decks. So that means every 6 months, which is a season in Underworlds, you get 4 warbands and 5 Rivals decks. 5 of these every 6 months. That's a lot of cards. Hold on, I think I might have said that. Oh, yeah, okay. Allow me to refer to my slide. Honestly, just a lot of cards, TBH. Way too many cards. Calm down, please. Chill. Check yourself. WTF is your problem. It's a lot of cards, if I'm being honest. Yeah, there you go. The end of that discussion, apparently. So let's talk about the 3 ways to play, because this tells us who needs to buy this many cards. Rivals. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm just going to say, let's be honest. They really, really, really poorly named these formats, okay? The Rivals format does not need any Rivals decks to be purchased. Not confusing, obviously. Clear. Somebody needs to be fired for that. No, I'm sorry. That's bollocks. Someone needs to be fired or have their pay docked. Like, very genuinely, that is the word. The Rivals format doesn't need a Rivals deck to be bought. Oh, let's make Warhammer Underworlds easier to get into. Not with the naming conventions, though. Okay, right, move on. No, sorry. Okay, I'm actually really annoyed. The Rivals format, I would liken it to the 40... You know, we're kind of going by how 40k is now. For those... Because everybody kind of knows how 40k plays, right? So I would say that Rivals is kind of like narrative play. I originally had this down as open play, but open play gets crazy, like potentially could be crazy. But I was meaning it more in a, this is the beginner way to play. And so I thought, well, okay, that's, maybe one could argue that's a little bit more narrative. So when you play a Rivals deck, when you play a Rivals format game, there is no deck building at all. You take your warband, and you just play their default deck. And that's it. That is the Rivals format. Easy. We then get the step up from that, which is Nemesis. Now, I would say that Nemesis is kind of like matched play. The reason I would say it is matched play is because it is how most people, I imagine, are going to play. This is because it, in my opinion, is a good balance of every aspect of the game. You are doing some deck building. You are obviously playing the game as you are normally. And you have built, and you also have quite a few constraints around your deck building so that you kind of can't do anything insane, but also you're probably there to win because you get it. So Nemesis format is your faction deck plus one Rivals deck. That's right. The Nemesis format is the one that uses the Rivals deck. We then come on to the Relic format. Now, I would liken the Relic format to tournament play. A lot of people think that tournament play and match play are the same, but I really don't think they are. So a lot of people will play match play, but not actually ever go to a tournament, or not ever really take a tournament game all the way to kind of the top levels, if you will. Whereas I feel like if you're playing Relic, the Relic format, then kind of the reason you're doing that is for a very specific reason. Keep in mind though, in a sense, one of the good things about the Relic format is that you don't have to do any deck building at all. You could take your ultimate hardcore narrative list, aka just your Rivals format faction deck, and play that in Relic. That's totally fine. Relic is unbound in a sense. You can play whatever you want to play outside of a few banned cards, and that's it. So it could be zero deck building, or it could be the ultimate deck building where you're pulling from a potential card pool of like 1,000 different cards or something insane like that. As you can see here, I called it for Master Deck Lovers Only. It's weird that that asterisk got in place of that E there. I don't know why that is. But yeah, Master Deck Lovers Only. Now, I actually can't move my chair. I probably shouldn't have thrown that deck in the air. I just want to be clear, I paid for that deck. That wasn't sent to me by GW. That was the Rivals of Nethermaze deck that I just threw on the floor, so I feel a bit silly about that one. My bad. I just want to have a quick word about Relic play. Relic format. So this is the championship format. A little bit confusing. So I believe that the Relic format used to be a far more unbound, completely unconstrained format that essentially nobody ever played. The championship format is what they played, and that was the main competitive format. And they've just changed the name. So championship format doesn't exist. If you're new, as I am, to Underworlds, you can forget the term championship format. It's now called the Relic format. So just a little bit weirdness there. The Relic format has been highlighted as the format for the top players still. So it's not a case of the Nemesis format has come out and they've said, right, this is all we're playing. Everywhere is playing this now. Not at all. It still seems to be that if you're going to the grand clash, we'll talk about clashes in a moment, the big tournament in the world, at Warhammer, wherever, I don't know, Warhammer Fest, I don't know, they will, it seems, be playing Relic format. So this still exists. Bit of a shame. I don't like it. Whatever, I just won't play it. Or will I? No, I won't. But I'm going to continue. It just seems really weird because ask anybody. This isn't me slandering it at all. I just want to point out how things used to be. It seems that Underworlds essentially died due to a variety of reasons. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's just not a very well played game. Or wasn't. Obviously, you know, Gnarlwood could shake things up. And if GW makes some good steps going forwards, things could change. But, yeah, I don't know. It seems like then Underworlds found a little bit of success playing the Nemesis format, previously called Rivals Plus, at Warhammer Underworlds. And they seem to have built a little bit of a scene back up, at least a little bit of an online presence there. But although they've instituted Nemesis as a real format within the game now, they're not taking it all the way. They're not saying, hey, we found some success with this. Guys, run with it. Let's do it. This is the new thing. This thing that we've had success with, we're going to make it the thing. They've said, hey, people like that, let's pull them in with that, but still try and move them over to the thing that ultimately killed the game. So I don't know, it just seems a bit weird. Seems a bit weird. That's all I can say. Apparently I'm still talking about the Relic format. Yeah, it just feels like they should probably figure that out. You know, revitalize the game with Nemesis, then maybe go back and revisit Relic play. The format already failed. Why would you keep pushing it? Clearly, for whatever reason, people didn't like it. Now, I know a lot of people that were previous Underworlds players are probably annoyed at me saying that and saying, no, that's not what killed it, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. I don't care. So let's think about Nemesis play. This seems pretty reasonable as a format to me. Still allows you deck building, which is, of course, a part of the game. But it also seems pretty flexible. Obviously, you know, it's possible that they might misjudge something and they will release a Rivals deck that will come out and just be better than any other Rivals deck for that season. Oh, because things do rotate out, by the way. Let's ignore that, though. It's a 2-year rotation. It's quite long. It's fine. So, like, every 4 seasons, something will rotate out. But it seems like, for me, Nemesis play, especially, as I put there, well supported by Gnarlwood, seems like a good way to go, I think. It seems like it's going to give you a bit of everything, and it really stretches out the way that you can play the format and play your warband, you know, without being a little bit crazy. Like, if you have to buy everything, this game probably isn't worth it. But if you just have to buy Gnarlwood and that's you legal to play in tournaments for the next 2 years, that's pretty good, if I'm honest. That's not a bad return on investment. I think we continue. Is there more to this? There's more to this slideshow. So we talk about clashes now with Clash Me Harder, baby. There are grand clashes. There are mini clashes. Now, a clash is a nebulous concept that isn't actually referred to anywhere. I googled a bunch. I looked at the official Warhammer Underworlds site. It doesn't tell you what a clash is. It does, however, say that grand clashes occur at things like the big. It specifically called out the big Warhammer events that were happening in the US. But then it said that Warhammer, the main one in Nottingham, what's that called? Warhammer World, is going to continue having mini clashes. So I don't know what a clash is, because I want to be really clear about this. The mini clash at Warhammer Underworld, at Warhammer Live, Home, World. The mini clashes at Warhammer World are the biggest events in the globe. at the moment. So I don't know why they're being called mini clashes. I assume that's because obviously GW can't kind of say, hey, our ultimate competitive game pulls in max 20 people at Warhammer World, and oh, by the way, at Nova last year it was 10 people. But that's the Grand Clash? It's probably a PR thing. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand why the Warhammer World thing was a mini clash. Maybe it's to do with prize support, possibly. I don't know. And then let's have a think about the seasons going forwards, because this is what we see. Upcoming warbands. I think the first one clearly Gloomspite gets. It's an easy pick. The second one, I put Daughters of Cain, but I don't think that's right. But I have no idea what it is actually. Cool. I like elves, so it'd be nice if it was an elf, but it might be a dead thing. Dead elves, those are cool. Those are cool. Yeah, there you go. That's it. That's the end of the show. And I'd like to say that if you've watched at the end of the show, a big reward would be a triple hello. Wow, so wholesome, guys. If you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. There's honestly nothing better that you can do to support a small YouTuber like myself. And hey, if you want to support other small YouTubers, do exactly the same for them. Watch the entirety of the video. Also, if you can like, subscribe, leave a comment, that'd be awesome. Guys, what do you think about Warhammer Underworlds Gnarlwood? I genuinely think that the Gnarlwood box is a really good way to start and possibly finish Underworlds. It kind of seems like you don't need any more than that. And I also want to reiterate that I am saying all of this as someone that has just sat down, thought about it, and considered. I have yet to play another game of Underworlds. I had wanted to, but Shadow Vaults, and then I've literally just been sick for a week and a half. It's killed me, man. So consider, let me know. I just think Gnarlwood's an act. If you like Underworlds, I think Gnarlwood's is a great place to get started and possibly to stop as well, because it seems like you get quite a lot of bang for your buck in there. So you can buy Underworlds, end up with, it claims 4 Rivals decks, but I think it's only 2, but I'm actually not sure. It might be a full 4. And then just buy whatever you want. Like, those 2/4 decks are then going to be your decks that are legal in Rivals and Nemesis format. Well, and Relic, in fact. But all of the formats for 2 years. That's some bang for your buck. And then if you see another cool warband that comes out, just pick those up and you're done. Alright. Well, anyway, guys, this has been Glass Half Dead. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you stay safe. Goodbye.